Now for supper tonight, besides the dessert, I'm going to do a coleslaw. Just pick up a bag of coleslaw. I got a recipe that's tried and true and is delicious and will beat any coleslaw, no matter where you get it from or who you think can make it the best, because they can't. And we're also, besides coleslaw, going to be having crab legs. Crab legs and coleslaw. Got a few ingredients set out, ready to go. So I've already started off with 3/4 cups of sugar. Got that in my bowl, so I'm ready there. Now I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt, I like to use sea salt myself. Your preference is your preference. Back it up. I gotta have room to work. Okay, I got my salt added. The next is going to be a teaspoon of black pepper. These are half teaspoons, that's why I'm doing 2 of them. And it ain't got to be exact, just kind of eyeball it to your taste. That's about what I do. I've never really took time to measure any kind of ingredients out until now, because I want to try to give you the pretty consistent recipe so you don't mess it up if you try these at home. And they are easy to mess up, because cooking ain't easy. I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise in with my sugar. I know it don't sound that great, but the taste is well worth it. Mayonnaise gives you a nice little sauce. I'm going to put a 1/4 cup of buttermilk in. I'm using a 1/2 cup, so I'm going to just do 1/2 of a 1/2. And that should be a 1/4. And I'm also going to add a 1/4 cup of milk.
You can use my little measurement.
Same thing, I'm just going to do a 1/2 of a 1/2. Because if you got 2/4, that should equal a 1/2. Get that in there real nice. Now what I like to do is give it a little stir. Next ingredients is going to be celery seeds. Don't really understand the full intent of celery seeds, but it seems to taste pretty good when you put it in there, so I'm going to make sure I put it in there. Okay, there we go. Then lemon juice. It's going to be 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice, or teaspoons I should say. So I get to do this 3 times. There we go. All right. Once you get your lemon in there, you want to get your stir back on. Get everything combined really well. Work them seeds in.
I had a pretty good shot of it. I still did.
And you see that mayonnaise makes it a little lumpy, but the more you work it, the smoother it gets. Now comes the nastiest part of this whole stuff, is white vinegar, distilled. And luckily it doesn't take much, because I'm not a fan of this nasty mess. It takes 1.5 teaspoons. So once again, I'll do this 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And that is your basic mix for your coleslaw. You can cut the ingredients if you need to, depends on how much you're going to make. What I just mixed up is good for 1 full bag. It coats it well, gives it a nice flavor. It's almost like a wet coleslaw that you would get at some places where they put it over on top of your burger and it would be dripping with a vinegar base. But this isn't quite as heavy on the base of the vinegar as some. I'm going to take my coleslaw mix now and I'm just going to add it in to what I already got mixed up in the bowl. Once the ingredients is in, you just start mixing. Make sure you get everything covered well. I like to start in one corner and just kind of work my way across, pulling some in as I'm going. You can see as it thickens up, the sauce sticks to it nicely. That's one of the key things, you want it to stick. That way whenever you dip it out to eat it, you don't have a bunch of leftovers in your plate, which it don't matter because this stuff tastes good once you get it mixed up together anyway. You see the mix up here, how it's coated nicely? That's the consistency that you want all the way through it. Once I finish mixing this all together, I put it in the refrigerator and I let it cool and chill while I'm working on the crab legs. And crab legs are simple. They come in a box. You open that box and they have a plastic wrapping around them, and I put a little bit of water in my pot, add me a little bit of flavoring in it, seasoning, and I always go to my good old Everglades seasoning. Not that it's going to matter, it's just going to smell better because crabs stink when they cook. But once I start boiling these, my coleslaw's chilling, my dessert's cooking, it all come together for a nice southern country meal.